And as time flies by, you'll open up your eyes wide. You feel it's gonna go your way. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. Hey, hey, hey.
Welcome back to Marbella Now. My name is Nicole King, and I'm delighted to be welcoming to the studio a guest organised by our wonderful Anita Norje. His name is Lee Eldridge. I wasn't expecting such a young guy just from the information. Then I got on the line and was like, yeah, very cool, the athlete tribe, very nice one. Hi Lee, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, yeah.
So you, as I understand it, are a complete newbie to the CostadelSol.
Yep, arrived last year in July. So obviously that was quite an interesting time.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like between everything.
So yeah, so I was based in the French-Swiss border, and we decided to move in April, and then obviously lockdown came. And
was it because of the COVID situation?
No,
finding where you were?
Myself and my family, I have a young daughter and a wife, and we decided to, we've always summered out here, and we decided to have a bit of a change from the cold and wet of France to move out to the sun of the south of Spain.
You're not a native from France?
No, no.
So how did you get to be in France in the first place?
So my previous background was in professional sports, working as a strength and conditioning coach, and I moved to work in Geneva in early 2016. So I spent 4.5 years traveling from France to Switzerland through a border every day, and I kind of decided to change roles and to change tact. And to basically create the athlete tribe and move away from an organisation that I was working for.
Just to be more independent and control your time better, perhaps?
Yeah, so I was working for head of performance for an ice hockey academy. So there was lots of training in the evenings and lots of games to go see. And with a young daughter and a family, it just didn't suit me. And it was very difficult to be talking to people about purpose, vision, and if it didn't sit well with me, then that was time for me to have a change.
If you're not happy in your own life, I know myself, I work with children, sometimes I've given up many times with my children to help someone else's child, and yeah, sometimes you do have to weigh up, you need to put sometimes ourselves first. The line that you're in now is, you obviously take on private clients. What is the situation? Do you hold groups? So obviously now groups, anything is a little suspect. What's the format of the athlete tribe?
So I look at working with two individuals, athletes, although I believe that everybody is an athlete and they need to kind of...
There are exceptions.
No.
There's exceptions.
So you are, but you're just at whatever level you need to be.
The lazy level still.
And also what you define your success as. And then obviously more in terms of what I call a cognitive athlete. So working with CEOs, executive, C-suite individuals. In previous roles, I've worked in big teams, both professional sporting teams and also professional corporate teams as well.
So you're offering more than just the physical aspect.
Yeah.
Our minds, which have been, I think, most neglected for so many years, in the sense of that we all could do with some psychological support. It's tough for everybody.
Yeah.
But there are certain trucos y técnicas, techniques, that we can embrace that can really make life easier. And I know this is something that you've been, a path that you've been following. Can you share more? Because I really liked what I was reading.
What happened was, when we work with professional athletes, obviously it's all about training and performance. And we've always tried to be holistic. And what holistic is obviously looking at the whole for the individual. And now what we kind of think about is that there's lots goes on to make up yourself. So a few things that we kind of look at is, how well you're sleeping. Sleep has a huge kind of effect on us, on our health, but also on how we are as a human being, what our mood's like, the nutritional decisions that we make during the day, how well our relationships are. And also, we are stressed. Most human beings or most humans are stressed. So for me, it comes down to two things: is how much stress can you tolerate, or stress resilience, and how well you manage that stress. So how do you put yourselves into stressful situations? Because we see stress as a negative thing, but actually stress is what's got you here today. Those moments of feeling out of your comfort zone, those things that have pushed you a little bit further, are the ones that have improved you. And you're no different to when you were a little toddler in those first few steps, and that was quite stressful for you to be done, but it helped you to learn how to walk. So there are
So it's really it's overcoming fear of the unknown in a way,
Yeah.
because a lot of stress is change. Things are changing. I've lost my job, or I'm unhappy at home,
Yeah.
or I don't like living here anymore, and produces stress that sometimes it's just analysing it to find out
Yeah.
why, you know. And
So fear, there's a great guy called Dr. Andrew Huberman, and he says that fear is anxiety times uncertainty equals fear. So if you took those two things separately, anxiety and uncertainty, and we know that there are some techniques for calming down, for reducing our anxiety, such as breath work, such as meditation, such as journaling, walking, physical activity. But also for uncertainty is, you know, trying to find out as much as possible about what you're uncertain about, not just kind of hiding away and just hoping that it's going to go away, because obviously with what's going on with the world today, we're not going to wake up tomorrow and it's finished with the pandemic and we're on to the next thing. So it's really trying to use different techniques to help you to reduce that fear, basically.
with the amount of uncertainty, and there are so many people locally that work in the hotel industry, they're out of jobs, they don't know if their place is going to open up again. How can you, in order to find our purpose, or to know what we even like or want, I think is one of the hardest things in life. What are the few basic steps that we can take just to give ourselves a chance? Because a lot of self-chatter goes on, and while that's happening, we can't hear or feel the answers. I know that you've got much better ways of explaining that.
Yeah, we have an inner voice. It's there, the inner critic, the ego, some people call it. And it's a way to just kind of understand that that's not you as a person. It's just yourself trying to fill that empty space. And to really try and sit down and take time. I think that we're so kind of disconnected or over-engaged with what we're doing. There's too much out there. There's too much social media that we can get sucked into, television, internet, and that doesn't allow us kind of moments of opportunity to sit down and say, what do I really want to do, or what's my vision and my purpose? And it's very hard to do that when there's situations that you need to work, you need to earn money. And it might be a case with some people that this is a prime opportunity, that if you're able to sit at home, or you're able to have a little bit more time to yourself to really sit down and think and start to write down and journal what do you want and where do you want to go, and to set those goals and to really think about not necessarily the goal, but really focus on the process that's going to get you there. And we get too obsessed with achieving our goals. And goal setting is important, but it's like people setting goals to run a marathon, and they run that marathon and they stop running. That's not the point of running. The point of running is to stay healthy and keep fit. And that's the problem we have if we just focus on the goal, because we don't really end up enjoying the process and the journey.
And the process and the journey is basically all we have.
Yeah.
Once you get there, it's over. I mean, the end
Yeah.
of it is really the end of our lives. So really taking the time, I think, is the key thing you were saying, to make ourselves feel healthy. I mean, you're talking and it was like, oh God, I don't do anything. I do no physical exercise, and I would like to. But I just feel like I'm starting from such a below par kind of thing, and what's the point? If you're going to a company that's watching, CEOs are out there thinking, oh gosh, yes, what would be your suggestion? How would be the format for starting with you in this process?
I kind of break it down. If we took physical activity, there's really two types. There's general and specific. So general is your day-to-day life, how many steps you walk, how long you stand for, in terms of how many steps, the stairs you walk up to. Specific is if you need to change your clothes. So if you need to get ready for the gym or go for a run. And we seem to get very caught up in how much specific we're doing. We're not going to the gym enough, we're not running enough, we're not doing enough specific exercise. But a great place to start is just looking at your general physical activity. And I think that we have to associate a value to that. Now, it can be very hard for a CEO, for example, to say that, but what we do know is that more physical activity you have, the better your mental performance is, your cognition, your ability to make decisions, to complex solution solving, and also, you know, how well you have relationships in and outside of the office. And that's a sell. So once you do that, you can attach a value to it, and that might be a reason for people to go and do it.
Sometimes you just have to see how it affects one personally. If you were going to give somebody just a general idea, when you get up during the day, even if you're an office worker, school teacher, work in a boutique, what would be the few basic tips you would say that you would say, do this every day, and that's a good start?
So I think trying to change your position every hour or so. So now that we're in this state with COVID and we might have back-to-back Zoom meetings or remote meetings, it's very easy just to sit still. And a lot of my clients, they sit still for for about 12 to 14 hours a day. So you need to change your position. So could you get a stand-up desk? Are there any meetings that if you don't need to be sat looking at a presentation or looking at the individual, could we walk on the phone and to try and add in some general activity? That would be the first step, is to try and change that shape, because we adapt to the position that we put ourselves in. I think the stats are it's not great for British people, but the average is around 20 hours either lying or sitting in the UK. It's a big number of every day. The next is really just to think about how you structure your day, because there's a great saying that structure brings freedom, and I think that people don't really do that very well. Is they just kind of let things happen to them, and then, you know, we wake up, and normally within 15 minutes we're looking at emails and we're on that treadmill already, as opposed to having some time to ourselves, planning what we're going to do, or what our most important things are, get them done, and then we kind of have a sense of achievement, and we feel fulfilled, and then kind of solve the problems of everyday life and what's come through that, or what's in that email box.
And one would suppose you're meant to include in that having something to eat, drinking water. And
yeah, so they're basics such as, you know, hydration is a big one. Breakfast is an interesting area because of obviously intermittent fasting. And
we did an interesting interview with Sarana Filipescu of Biomagnetism Marbella last week on intermittent fasting.
Yeah, so it's a big area. And I'm not a pro or against fasting. I would say that if you wake up and you're hungry, you eat. If you wake up and you're going to do some exercise, you might want to eat. You might not want to eat. It's really definitely an individual thing.
Which is why, if you're thinking about doing anything, contact a professional. One sitting right with me now, Lee Eldridge. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
The Athlete Tribe. Like it very much. Big thank you, Anita Norjay, for setting up the interview. And we're going to go to a break now from our sponsors and our ZeroHero partners. But I look forward to seeing you another time, Lee. It's been really interesting.
Thank you.
And welcome. Bienvenido.
Thank you.
We'll give you time to catch up with some Spanish. She's very new at the moment. Don't go away. We'll be back after the break with Billy Dawson.
Judy likes to consider herself a clever young woman, which is why she thought very carefully before choosing her insurance company. Now that she needs it, she's jolly glad she chose Linear Director, as it looks as if she might have something better to do. Why don't you be clever, like Judy? Call Linear Director on 952 14 78 34 and see which policy is best for you.
When I'm the designated driver, I think it's only fair that I get to choose a ZeroHero venue that rewards me with free soft drinks. My friends all get to choose and booze, and they feel safe going home with me. Make sure that you get your reward for being the designated driver. Why pay if you don't have to?
Our welcome Zero Heroes. Come and visit us.
G-Wine is happy to be ZeroHero partner.
How cool is that? G-Wine.
Glad and are proud to present Zero to Hero. Never drink and drive.
McNulty's is proud to be a ZeroHero partner.
Out of bounds, ZeroHero partners.
Here we are, things are going on, delighted to welcome everybody. and to be part of the Zero Hero campaign. Delighted.
Zero Hero, welcome here. At the Gaucho de Barús.
And welcome to Lemongrass, Doña Lola. Thank you very much.
Zero Hero, welcome to Portofino, Cabo Fino.
Let the feeling into your... Hey, hey.
Welcome back to the show. As promised, joining me now is Billy Dawson. I met this guy the other day online via Zoom with the Art Society of Benavides doing the judging for their Young Artist competition, which was absolutely superb and really difficult to judge. Billy, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
I really enjoyed our get-together. It was surprising that not being together, it could have been such a personable and enjoyable little Zoom judging session.
It was very enjoyable, and it was very difficult. It's actually, I've done it quite a number of times in the Grand Hotel, but today was the most, well, the other day was the most difficult one that we've had.
I have to say, I've been a judge before at this competition, and the entries are always commendable. But
Yes.
this year, I think you even had to add in a few prizes because so many were notable, and we
That's
couldn't
right.
just let them go by without recognition.
Yeah, quite right. Yes.
How did you, I mean, you're part of the Art Society of Benavides.
Yes. I'm a member at Benavides.
Yeah, very important.
And I'm the chairman and the honorary president of CostadelSol Society, which meets in Fuengirola.
It's really nice because the groups, you do all keep in contact, and that's really nice that you maintain this contact between the different Art Society factions.
Oh, very much, we do. The one that meets in Fuengirola, CostadelSol, we've been established now for 32 years, and we're the first one. And then Nerja was the second one. And the third one was De La Frontera, meets in San Roque, and then Benavides. And in between, Gibraltar came on the scene as well.
I know that you share lecturers and different things to make sure that you really do get a great cultural content. Are you
Yes.
finding that is a benefit now, more so during lockdown, doing so much via Zoom? Because I believe you have a lot of members and non-members joining the events that you're still holding.
Yes, we do, actually. We had a lecture here yesterday, which was absolutely tremendous, on the imperial Easter eggs of the Tsars of Russia. And that we had 91 people attend.
I would have attended. That sounds amazing.
Oh, it was absolutely wonderful. And it was the imperial Easter eggs after the revolution. So it was, to me, very much a detective story, finding the eggs. Where were they? Who had them? It really was very, very interesting.
You got involved with the Art Society, I believe, when you came to retire. Is that right, to the Costa del Sol? Very different environment to where you've spent most of your life, from what I understand.
Yes, I spent all my working life. The furthest east I worked was Bombay, and the furthest west was Tokyo. So I was in India, Korea, Japan, Singapore, Brunei, and Malaysia.
Was this all as a banker? Because I understand that is your
Yes.
profession.
It was all with the same bank. It was with the British Foreign Bank.
I never heard of the British Foreign Bank. What is a British Foreign Bank?
Well, our head office was in London. Am I allowed to say the name?
Yes, of course.
It's Standard Chartered Bank.
Oh, okay.
And I
Some new
joined,
bank
I
that
joined that was a merger of two banks, but I joined the Chartered Bank originally and went to the Far East, and the Standard Bank was in Africa, and then we merged and became Standard Chartered Bank.
So what years were you living in India, for example?
A long time ago. I was in India in 64, 65, and then again from 76 to 1980.
I was hoping you were going to say that because I want some inside lowdown information about what was it like. I mean, was it like that we imagine from the movies back in the old day? I mean, was it a British India? Was it a very Indian India? What was it like for a little English boy? I assume you're British.
Yes, the first time in the 60s, it was a very British India, and I didn't like it very much at all. But when I went back in the 70s, it was an Indian India, and I absolutely loved it. I've still got a lot of friends in India that I keep in contact with.
And do you speak the language?
No.
Any of the places that you've been to, you picked up any dialects or?
No, I had to learn some on my first tour, but it disappeared.
So the first trip, obviously, I imagine was a lot, as you say, it wasn't quite as enjoyable to be in the empire, the exterior empire. When you travel,
well, of course, it was because of the social strata. You could talk and be friendly with people who were your equal or below you, but to be friendly with people who were senior to you, they had to make the first move in those days. And then when I went back in the 70s, it was just all so relaxed. It was absolutely wonderful.
Well, I'm very pleased to hear it. I have to say it's one of the countries that I've never felt that I could face seeing, because I know there are some beautiful areas, but the poverty is so overwhelming and so apparent that I'm not so sure I'd cope with. I'm so empathetic, it worries me a little bit.
It is. Before I went to India the first time, I had friends there, and they told me that the poverty was so bad, and said that I would have to get used to it. And if I thought I couldn't get used to it, then I shouldn't go. But it was very, very difficult. You sadly had to turn a blind eye.
There's nothing else you can do, it would seem, except on the small scale, on the one-to-one relation. But I know it's very different. Other places, where was the nicest place you lived? The most luxurious?
I think Japan. Japan is beautiful. Japan is such a beautiful country. The architecture is beautiful. The people are absolutely wonderful. The scenery is beautiful. I love Japan, I think, more than anywhere.
Did you see a different work ethic, like a noticeable work ethic from one country to the other? It must be frustrating from what we're used to in our systems as Brits to then go into some of these countries that maybe don't have the same philosophy of work.
Well, yes, it was. It was very different in each country. And in a country like Japan, I had my Japanese staff. I was the only British person in the office. I was in Osaka, and I was very young when I was there, and I was the manager of Osaka. Well, you don't become a manager of a Japanese bank branch until everybody else has died before you, and you're about time for retirement. Whereas so they were all very surprised that I was there, but I couldn't do business with a Japanese talking to them direct. I had to have it through one of my officers who would translate.
Did you have someone when you moved from country to country to guide you on the different etiquettes that were expected from each place?
Well, a bit, yes, a bit, but they rather left you to it and made you find out. But I must say, in Japan, I loved the etiquette in Japan, the bowing and placing your hands together, saying certain things, which I learned in Japanese when you greet people. But it was just some place that I felt very, very relaxed and very at home in.
I was going to say that my perception is also of Japan a very peaceful, mindful country that takes its life slower with a lot more thought. Is it that way in the banking industry, though?
Well, yes.
They keep it the whole way through, that philosophy.
They do keep that philosophy the whole way through. But they're very, very hard-nosed people to deal with, which is interesting.
You're also very much into volunteering. Has that been something that you took as part of the profession, that you're giving back, you're tithing? How do you manage to fit all that in? And what are your passions for volunteering?
There were lots of things that when you went to a new place in the bank, you were just told I was in Bombay, for instance. I started off as a director of the Bombay High School, which was the Bombay Scottish High School, or it became just the Bombay High School. And then I was chairman of that for 4 years. I was chairman of the International School in Brunei for 4 years. I was a director at the Kobe International Hospital and the big Gleneagles Hospital, which is the foreign hospital in Singapore. And these were things which really went with the job. So,
well, you seem like you really enjoyed your job very much.
Yes, I did. I enjoyed it very much. And I enjoyed doing all these voluntary things. So I have had this voluntary thing all the way through. And then when I was introduced to NADFAS, as it was before the Arts Society, that was 22 years ago. And
does it keep you busy enough? Because you've obviously had a very demanding, busy life. Are you enjoying the pace that you're living now?
Yes, and the Arts Society does keep me very busy, and I'm also very involved with the Anglican Church in Fuengirola. So I've got these two things which keep me pretty busy.
Very nice too. Well, I really have to say that I was delighted to meet you, and a nice surprise, because it's funny having you booked into the show thanks to our lovely Anita Norte. I'd never heard of you before. And then suddenly I found that we were in a Zoom meeting together to do the judging for the Young Artist competition from the Art Society of Benavides. And as you say, a shame not to be in the Grand Hotel. But what a turnout of artwork. I can only congratulate all the students immensely. How did you guys choose the categories? Just quickly wanted to ask that. There were some strange categories.
Well, the categories are the lectures for next year.
Oh, makes sense now.
These are the lectures. So Jane Norrie, who was in charge of this, she chose 4 of the lectures for next year and used these for the students to do their art on.
Well, highly, absolutely, congratulations to the organisation, to the judges, and obviously, most importantly, to the students. And if you didn't get involved with this year's competition, I do encourage you all to get involved next year. A final message for our viewers, and to finish off the week, Billy, what would you recommend people join the Art Society? Can we join the Art Societies?
Anybody can join the Art Society, and I would say yes, join the Art Society. It's great fun.
What kind of things do you do? You've got your lectures, always very interesting.
8 lectures. We've got 8 lectures, main lectures, and 5 extra lectures a year. We normally, when times are right, we have a Christmas lunch, we have an end of season dinner. We usually do 3-day trips somewhere within reach, and we do 2 longer trips, one in Spain, one abroad, each year. And well, the Art Society in Benavides, of course, has done their Young Arts. They do a Young Arts project in Villa Frontera. And we have had Art and Crafts Days. And we have had Young Arts as well.
Well, it really is lovely to know that our international and local communities have so much they can get involved with, keep ourselves busy and our minds active.
Well, I would say if you go into the website and look up the Art Society and put in CostadelSol, you'll get Fuengirola. Put in Benavides, you'll get Benavides.
Fabulous. Billy, thank you so much.
We'd love you. You should join. You should join.
I'm going to, and that's not a threat, but I love all things to do with art, and the talks that you have are fascinating. Are they available afterwards online to watch as well, if you remember?
No.
Oh.
The lecturers,
so you can't miss them, can't afford to miss them.
No, you can't afford to miss them because the lecturers do it on the day and they don't have it recorded.
Well, I can't wait for the next one. Billy, thank you so very, very much.
Well, thank you very much.
A lovely week. I really enjoyed meeting you. It's been a great pleasure.
I've enjoyed meeting you, and I enjoyed the other day judging with you.
Yeah, me too. I look forward to seeing you in person very soon when restrictions permit.
Absolutely. Thank you very, very much.
Take care. Bye-bye for now.
Lovely to see you, Nicole.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And that's it for this week, boys and girls. We've finished the program. I can't believe it's Friday once again. Please do go out and about if you can afford to and choose our ZeroHero venues if you can, because if you're the designated driver, you don't have to pay for your soft drinks. It's always nice to remember to keep a safer city. Please be nice to each other. Take care of yourselves. Remember to check out recordings of the MarbellaNow show, which are available from the RTV Marbella website and also from my website, nicoleking.es, with links to the program here, MarbellaNow, my Marbella Moments column in the Euro Weekly News, and full listing of ZeroHero partners from ZeroHero.es. Cuidaros, os quiero. Hasta la semana que viene. See you next week.
We can change if we try.